Hello, my name is Ashley, and today I'm going to be talking about how I used my subconscious to heal my food addiction and to lose a substantial amount of weight. Um, so, our subconscious is the part of our mind that we are able to form our habits, where we form our beliefs. It's basically where we operate from, unless we are conscious. So, a majority of the time, we're operating from our subconscious. You can think of it kind of as like a computer program, or it's like pre-programmed. So essentially, when you're operating from your subconscious, you're living like the same way every day. You're thinking the same thoughts every single day. So you're operating from a pre-programmed state of mind instead of making conscious choices, which is what we are here doing. We are making choices every single day in everything we do. So, as I began to become more aware, and I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to. I had a goal in mind, and my goal, it seemed so far away. It seemed so unattainable at the time. At the time, when I started this goal, at the time, I probably weighed I was over 200 pounds, probably around 260 pounds at the time. My goal was to get to 180 pounds. That's where I thought I would feel like comfortable, or I would look good. That was like my thoughts then. And as I've began my weight loss journey, of course, things have changed and I've grown so much. And eventually it became less about how I looked, less about what the number on the scale was, and just became about how I felt. So as I began to lose weight, also another one of my goals was to raise my vibration, to feel good. So I knew that the struggle with weight loss and like reaching our goal is we believe that we're going to feel really good when we get there. Once I lose this 100 pounds, once I lose this 20 pounds, once I lose whatever the number is, then I'll feel good. But what we have to do is feel good the whole entire time. And that's what it means to raise your vibration. Because then when you're in alignment with how you want to feel, so really you have to use your imagination and how would you feel if you had lost that weight? And then you have to hold that feeling with you while you still are at the weight that you are at now, that you're at currently. So you have to use your imagination. How would you feel then? And then bring that feeling here into this moment now. So then when you do that and you're bringing your feelings in, and then you start to retrain your mind. So at first I would just start telling myself I'm getting healthier every single day. And I would tell myself that I was getting healthier every single day. Whenever I would have thoughts come in about how I wasn't doing enough, or how I wasn't losing enough weight, or shaming myself for eating certain foods. Because when I first started, I didn't give up food. I didn't give up anything throughout my whole journey unless I was ready to. And I feel like that's the problem, is a lot of people, they start these diets and we don't want to give up the things we like. We don't want to give up fast food. We don't want to give up pizza. We don't want to give up pop. We don't want to give up our candy. We don't want to give up things. And that makes it harder. And I feel like that puts us in more resistance. And the point is to do what you want, but to become aware of your choices. So, and then the other thing that comes with that is that we cannot shame ourselves for choosing to have that candy bar, or choosing to eat that pizza, or choosing to drink the wine. Because what happens a lot of time, and I noticed myself as I began to also mindful eat, so I would come into the present moment and eat, and this really helped me to come in alignment with the food I was eating. So to come in and recognize what I was thinking as I was eating and what I was feeling as I was eating. So I had to become aware of my thoughts while I was eating. Was I shaming myself? Because when you shame yourself while you're eating, you're in a very low vibration, because shame is a lower based energy. And the food will react different in your body when you're in a lower vibration than if you were in a higher vibration. So let's say you're eating French fries and you're shaming yourself while you're eating these French fries. So your vibration is very low. But if you eat the French fries and you're like, you feel really good. I love French fries. They're one of my favorite things. One thing I did not give up this whole entire time because I really like them. And so I wasn't going to give them up. And I don't think that we should ever have to give anything up. One thing that's important, and I always reminded myself, is that part of the American experience, not just the human experience, but the American experience, is food. If you think about our country, we have food accessible to us at all times. We are very abundant with food. And so it's everywhere with us. That's why I believe obesity is the number one killer in our country. And it's because we have access to food very easily, and a lot of people are suffering emotionally. That was me. I had a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, just a lot of lower base energies, and I would eat emotionally to distract myself from those feelings. And at a very young age, we're taught to repress our feelings and to consume. That's two of the major things in our country, is that we're taught those two things. And when you combine your repressed emotions with consuming something, not just food, that was my choice, that was my drug, but other people choose harder drugs, they choose alcohol, they choose shopping. There's lots of different things that you can become addicted to, but when you mix the repressed emotions and the distracting yourself with the consuming of whatever your choice is, that creates disease in your body. And it's called dis-ease, like disharmony. It's put your body out of whack. And so you begin to feel this in your body. And that's why it's really important to mindfully eat. So as I became more in the moment, I began to really taste my food. I could start like weaning out and like started like once I became more, and I would taste everything. So I would taste the texture. I would taste every little flavor in it. And like I said, as I began to do that, I began to become very aware of what I was eating. I was able to discard things on my terms, not because I needed to do it, but because I wanted to. And that's where the huge difference is. I finally got to the point where I was like, I can't eat this anymore. I don't feel good when I eat this anymore. This is not benefiting me anymore. It just does not feel good in my body. So then I consciously made the choice to say, no, I won't eat this anymore because I don't want it. It doesn't taste good in my body. One thing that I gave up was meat. And a girl from the Midwest who grew up eating meat and potatoes, that's like the staple of the Midwest, is meat and potatoes. And I love potatoes. But one thing that happened, and I've become more aware of this, I didn't really understand it then, because I did give up meat, because I felt guided to, and because it felt like the next step for me. Also, becoming a vegetarian helped me cut out fast food. That was the main thing that I was going for, because fast food, it's convenient, and but most of the fast food is really not good for you. It's filled with preservatives and things that should just not be put into your body. I'm not saying don't ever eat them, because they taste good, and but I just got to a point where I was like, I can't put this stuff in my body anymore. And so I chose not to. And it just has to become a choice. And you retrain your mind, you retrain your subconscious by moving those grooves. So when I see the subconscious and how we operate it from life, I see it like being strapped in a chair, and it's just like moving you everywhere. But when you're conscious, you're freely choosing, and you're making new grooves, you're making new paths in your brain. And as you begin to create these new grooves, as you begin to change your thoughts, then your actions begin to, your actions begin to reflect your thoughts. So as I told myself I was getting healthier every day, I began to exercise. And it wasn't hard exercise. I'm not a big fan of going really hard. I prefer to take it easy. I just started using Fitness Blender on YouTube, and I would commit to like a 20-minute to 30-minute workout every day after work. And I wouldn't always do it because some days I didn't feel like doing it, and I allowed myself. I didn't push myself. That's the thing, is you can't force yourself to do it. You have to want to do it. And once you want to do it, then that's when you're actually seeing results. But if you don't want to do it, then you're resisting. And so when you're in a state of resistance, but you're trying to do something because you think it's how you're supposed to be, or you think that it will give you what you want, then you're just fighting it. And so you're not going to get the results that you want, because first you have to be in alignment. First you have to want it. First you have to enjoy it. I picked up jogging earlier this year. I want to say it was like the end of April, beginning of May. I started it. And for me, I wanted it to be something that I enjoyed, because I knew that if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. Just period, I would not. So it was important for me and every time I felt like doing it, I would go and do it. When I first started, I was like, I don't really want to do this, or I wasn't really excited about it, but then I would do it. And then I would feel so good afterwards. And then finally it was like, you have to turn these things into habits. So you have to do them. And I committed to doing it at least a few times a week. When I first started, I wanted to do it like every day. I did not do it every day. I just did not. And so, but we can't beat ourselves up either when we don't do something that we want. That's the other thing, because the shame comes into it. And just like when you shame yourself when you eat, or you shame yourself when you don't work out, you can't beat yourself up. Like, be proud of your little victories, and also just recognize your beliefs around food. What kind of food did you grow up around? That was huge for me. I grew up eating, like, our house is filled with like Little Debbie's and cereal and pasta. I mean, we had good food. We always had plenty of food, ice cream, brownies. Like, we had really good food and good food. Like, so it was tasted good, but it wasn't good for us. And especially I really enjoy food. And so that's why it was easy for me to become addicted to food. Not only does that food have, the food that we're around and the food that I grew up around, it's very addictive. The sugar, the processed sugar, you can get addicted to that very easily. And so, and then you carry these beliefs with you into adulthood, and then you eat like that when you're an adult, because you haven't acquired the taste for vegetables. So you don't know how it feels in your body. And it's important to be in alignment with your food. So like I try to eat, I've been eating like apples for breakfast in the morning, or bananas, and I love fruit. And I can tell, like, okay, so my vibration is already really high, and then I eat high vibrational food, and it's like it amplifies my energy and it amplifies my body. So it really affects your body and it really affects your energy. But let's say you're eating something like French fries, not very high vibrational food, but you feel high vibrational, like your vibration is really high, then it almost kind of like, it almost kind of like counteracts it. But it's more about your alignment and less about the food you're eating. But if you don't feel good while you're eating the food, then you're not in alignment, and it will have different effects on your body. So, like I said, I just started off with telling myself every time I wanted to give in to like a craving or a food, and I would always allow myself to. I would never, and sometimes I would try to resist for like a few days. And then finally I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to eat a little bit of this, or maybe I'm going to eat a whole frozen pizza, like allow yourself and don't shame yourself. Notice when you're shaming yourself, like, are you thinking I shouldn't be eating this? I shouldn't be eating this. Or are you thinking another good way to, when you recognize yourself shaming yourself, just stop and say, thank you. And sometimes I've gotten into the habit where with every chomp, like when I'm chewing, I say thank you. And that kind of just reinforces, well, one, it's really good. It helps you really be thankful for the food that you have, which brings you into a state of abundance, which is our natural state. And so you're in a very high vibration. And it also just reminds you to come back to the moment, because sometimes when we're eating, we can like be thinking about what we're going to be doing next, or what we're going to be doing in an hour, or what we forgot to do earlier. And eating is really a sacred thing to me. Eating and food are very important to me. It's something I enjoy. It's a very important, it's an amazing thing with our human experience is food. But it's just important to like know a lot about our food and to kind of inform ourselves about food, because food does send information to our bodies, and then our bodies react to that food. So I just kind of wanted to give some tips and kind of just share how I started my weight loss journey. So I would say that I started my weight loss journey with my mind, because we have to have the willpower. We have to have the mind. We have to exercise the mind. And meditation is how I started exercising my mind. So I highly recommend meditation, just starting off with a guided meditation on YouTube. This kind of just helps you become aware of your thoughts so that you can recognize your addiction. You can recognize when you're shaming yourself. That was the biggest part for me, is that I shamed myself while I was eating. And I thought because I was a fat person that like I shouldn't be eating because I'm already really fat. Like I was just thinking about how like self-conscious I was. And so that was really lowering my vibration. So it's really important to come in alignment with your food. And like I said, the willpower, the mind is where it began for me. That's where I had to start. We want the results. We want our body to look good. And still, like my body, well, I love my body. I think it looks amazing. But also, it doesn't look like, we have this idea of what we think a body should look like based off of society. And we have to get used to, like, you can lose a bunch of weight but still feel like have low self-esteem. You have to really train your mind to have the confidence. You have to really train your mind to shift how you see yourself. So it starts with your self-image. And as your self-image changes, as you tell yourself, look in the mirror every day and tell yourself how beautiful you are, you really will start to believe it, and then you become it. So as you tell yourself, I'm getting healthier every day, you start to believe that you're getting healthier every day, and then you start to do things that make you healthier every single day. So it's really about how you talk to yourself, your inner dialogue, and really becoming aware of your thoughts. And this really will help to shift your weight loss and to just recognize your addiction, especially a food addiction. I can't speak for other addictions, but this is what has helped me. And I've lost over 100 pounds doing this method. I had started losing weight prior just by working out and taking like medication, which was not good for me. So this was just a more natural way. It just felt effortless almost. It felt effortless to lose this much weight and to kind of be where I am now. So I just kind of wanted to share some of that, and I hope it was helpful. And I'm sending lots of love if you're on your weight loss journey, or if you're struggling with weight loss, or you're struggling with self-esteem. I see you. I've been there. Keep going. You've got this. It's a lifelong journey. So look at it as like an adventure. Look at your weight loss as an adventure, and just take your time. There's no rush, and you're beautiful just as you are. Just remember that you're beautiful, and tell yourself every day that you're beautiful, because you are. And I'm just sending lots of love. Take care.